Once you are ready to write your session note, simply go to the Session Notes tab within Data Collections for the specific date and time in which you are trying to complete that session note. As you can see here, I have it populated in a full view, so that way we could go through each specific section together. So here within the session note, I have the first session information section. All of this is automatically populated in which you are unable to edit. If you require any edits within this session information section, do not complete your session note and go to an administrator to discuss what is wrong with your session information session. In the session information, you have the client's name, their diagnosis, date of birth, as well as the code in which you're trying to bill. Then you have the client's insurance, as well as the session service date and time in which you've completed this session. Below that, we have the session location section. Here, you have the location of the client during services, in which you will be presented with drop-down list, in which you will pick the most accurate place of service. Then, if your services were rendered in person, go to in-person services. If the session did not take place via telehealth, simply do not click anything in the Select an Option section. Then under Session Participants, you have your name listed as the provider, as well as the BCBA's name, in which whether the BCBA was present or not, they will be listed. If there was any other participants, simply list them out. In the session data section, once the session note is complete, you will have this section completely outlined with all of the raw data in which you've collected within the session. Depending on organizational requirements, you may not be able to submit a session note unless you have corresponding data attached to your note. If you need to go back to input your data, simply save your note here and go back to the Data Collections tab to collect and import your data. If there was any goals that were discussed, you can simply type it in here. Then you have the session summary page, in which you're presented with a list of drop-down options for you to pick the most suitable one for you and your client, highlighting what occurred during your session that day. It is important that every section is completed. If you want to add any more specific information about your client and the session that you had, you have a free form text box here to do so. Once you've fully reviewed your session note, make sure that you put in your provider signature here at the bottom. Depending on organizational requirements, a parent or guardian signature may or may not be required. If everything looks good within your session note, and once you're done, simply scroll to the bottom and hit the Save button, in which your session note will be saved. If there are any requirements within the note that are missing, you will receive a notification as far as what is missing and what you will need to fix so that you can complete your session note.